Hello everyone, and welcome to a surprise GenMouse 45 video. I know I said I had videos lined up, and I kind of had this one lined up, but I was waiting for my results from my national exam that I took for marriage and family therapy. Got the email yesterday, and good news everyone! I finally passed the national examination for marriage and family therapy. So yay! It means I'm a licensed graduate marriage and family therapist. Well, try saying that 5 times fast. But yes, so now I get to start working again, which I already have lined up. I gotta do 2 years of some graduate work, get some more hours going, and then once I'm done, I will finally be able to be licensed. So finally, after graduating from North Central University, I took the exam. I was ready for this next part of the journey. There was definitely some fallbacks. I could not predict what was going on because it has been a while and it did take a little bit to get here. So I'm not going to get into every single little detail. I feel like it would just be too long of a video, and I just kind of wanted to come in, talk about this latest experience, and kind of updates for the channel. Nothing too major. I'm still planning on posting once a month, but given my schedule and everything, we're gonna get into that. But yeah, but maybe, who knows, in a future autobiography or something, maybe I'll talk more in depth, definitely, because it's definitely impacted me in several ways, physically, emotionally. Notes up here, y'all know if I'm looking off to the side, I'm looking at my notes. So there we go. Okay, so for those that don't know, national exam for marriage and family therapy, it's 180 questions, it's 4 hours long, and is the hardest thing you will ever study for. Trust me. Because I took it quite a bit. I feel like an outlier because most folks are like, I passed it the first time. I might not have done well the first time, but the second time I got it, this was my 5th take. So trust me when I say I am the outlier. So I kind of feel like the first time shouldn't really count because, just like a tidbit, I took it back, I think April 2022, and when I went to the examination that day, they couldn't pull up my exam. They're like, you're not registered. And I started panicking and everything. So I had to go home. I had to call a phone number. They were gracious, and they gave me a different day to study, or not study, but to take the exam. So, so instead of that Wednesday, I waited till Saturday, got all the arrangements. But my brain was just shut off at that point because it's you were prepared to take the exam, you knew everything, but now I gotta wait an extra 2.5 days. That it was just it was so frustrating. So yeah, that first time was a bit rocky. The second and third and fourth time, it was I was so close, just a couple points off and everything like that. It really took a big hit to my self-esteem because I'm just this is what I'm supposed to do. This is what I'm supposed to be. But now after passing, I'm yes. So it is heartbreaking to get the email we regret to inform you didn't pass. It was just heartbreak after heartbreak. You're studying hours on end, you're studying material. It might be on the exam, but it might not be on the exam. And it's just yeah, I don't know. So, and you've got all these different domains, you've got different types of questions. Those questions have tricky answers. It is just not a fun exam to study for. So I think after the 4th time, I just felt absolutely defeated because I said, far as just mere points away from passing and everything. So I was just I don't know what to do. It wasn't until one of our Cosplay Tea Time recordings, it's a podcast I host, Cosplay Tea Time, you can go check it out. But we were talking afterwards. We were all venting about exams because folks had midterms, folks were studying for final exams and stuff like that. So we're just venting off camera about exams, and somebody brought up I'm gonna apply again. They're even though I feel I haven't passed my exams either, I keep trying. They're but I'm gonna try again. And I feel that gave me the motivation, the to be you know what? I'm gonna try the exam one more time. I'm gonna give it my all and everything like that. So I was end of October, made the phone call. There was some not kerfuffle, but there was just if you don't pass this time around, you have to reapply for everything again. And I'm just yeah, it takes a lot of time and also money as well to do all that. So I was all right, this time I'm gonna get it. And I made sure that I had my study schedule. I had a bunch of stuff, so I'm gonna get into that. So that was the thing. I gave myself one more chance. I'm just okay, you can get it this time. You've come close. You just need to figure out exactly what it is. So what I did differently this time was I purchased Dr. Diane Gehart's course lecture. I forget the word for it, but Dr. Diane Gehart, I have her book upstairs that I used for my courses when I first studied. She has the Laugh Your Way to Licensure. And it's so funny because I took this around like December and all I could think is like that one song. I'm not gonna sing it because I don't want to get copy strike, but like, you know, Laughing All the Way. So really, what kept playing in my head every time I'd like laugh, like Laughing All the Way whenever I'd try to log in for the day and stuff. So I went ahead, signed up for her course. Yes, it's a bit pricey and you already have to pay for the exam, but I was just like, you know, I've been seeing lots of good like reviews from folks saying like they got it and everything. You know, I'm like, at least let me give it a try. So, and with the course, what I learned was there was like 3 things you really had to prepare for, and that was the content that you were gonna see on the exam, like knowing the content, knowing what they were looking for with the content, my test taking strategy, which I did like the red light, green light, and then practicing mindfulness, which was the part that I really struggled with because I have a really bad test anxiety. I see an exam and I just start sweating profusely, my hands tremble, my mind goes into lizard mode, it's bad. And I think that's what really hung me up the first couple times, like the first 4 times was just like, oh my gosh, like I'm not gonna get this, what happens if I don't get this and stuff, so. But thankfully, there was like some guides, some meditation guides in the course, like different apps you could. So my advice would be know your best like point to take it, like which month is there like not a lot of stuff going on. So like January, there's nothing really going on. It's after the holidays. You know, coming off like the holiday. Like if I took it in December, I'd be stressed because I do a lot of stuff with my family during the holidays. So it's like December was a no-go. November, towards the end, I was like kind of a no-go because we had stuff for Thanksgiving. So like kind of know like which month, you know, there's not a lot going on. You know, make sure you have like a couple months beforehand that you can like focus and study. So like know like which point of the year are you going to be at peace and take the exam. January. Most importantly, set a study schedule and stick to it. So, you know, I would take like trying to think which website it was. I would take like the little domain quizzes and, you know, figure out like, you know, which areas like I wasn't the greatest in. I'm just gonna say fail, but they'll just say not pass. So what I would do is if I didn't do so hot on ethics, okay, so on the study schedule I might have like 3 or 4 different times that I might study ethics. But if I did good, you know, with like theories or something, maybe I might, you know, take those out. I know solution-focused therapy, like I glimpsed over it because I know solution-focused therapy because that's what I'm going for, so miracle question all the way. So yeah, so make a study schedule and stick to it. Try not to alter so much. I mean, things might come up in life, it happens, but like know when you're more comfortable studying. My time is like in the morning. You know, I have my little cup of coffee, I have my study books and everything. I would just sit there and read, drink coffee, you know. I would probably do that until like noon, then I need a lunch break, and then I would go and like do flashcards after lunch or something. That was kind of like my study, and it would be like different, like every hour would be different. So like 1 hour I would study crisis, next hour I would study schizophrenia, next hour I would study cognitive behavioral therapy. So it was like literally every single hour, but like 1 hour for lunch, because you need lunch, you need food. So stick with it. Take as many practice exam questions as you can. I know it sounds silly, but I used an app, I used a study guidebook, which I'll get into here. Dr. Diane Gehart course has quizzes, the practice exam questions, and everything. Like, take as many as you can. And I say that too because those questions will try to trip you up. The answer choices will too. Going back, and even if I knew the correct answer, I wouldn't just select it right away. I would be like, all right, like why do the other answers not work? Like what are they missing out on? Like they're good answers, they might fit this scenario, but why aren't they the best? Why is this one the best? So really make sure that you look at the questions as well as the answers and like kind of give like a reasoning as to why it might not work, it might not be the best. This one's important. Do 1 to 3 family foundations a day. This helped me out. Instead of just cramming like 10 to 20 different theories, I would just like study like 3 or 4 a day, or like 1 to 2, usually be like 3 to 4 a day. So it might be like 2 in the morning, like cognitive behavioral therapy and Bowian therapy. And in the afternoon, I might study narrative therapy and systems therapy, which you need to study systems therapy a lot. It shows up quite a bit. So yeah, so it'd be like that type of things. That way it just didn't just like suck it all in. It was kind of like, all right, this is what makes, goals for cognitive behavioral therapy, like, and then move on to Bowian. Okay, this is goals. So try to like split it up a little bit. The other thing too is flashcards. I'm a flashcard note taker. It helps because one, I can write it down, I can see it, I can practice it. If something else comes up that makes sense, I can write it like a little note on the flashcard. I made 3 sets of flashcards. One for all the DSM-5, all of the DSM-5 on flashcards, especially with severity, duration, and all that stuff. I did foundation terms, like, circular questioning, boundaries, the different types of boundaries. Like, I think on the AMFT website, there's like a glossary term. I used that, and then whatever else came up my way that I felt like it's going to be on the exam, I would just make a flashcard of and just stick it in the pile to study. And then lastly, research terminology. I kind of freeze up on questions about research because I was like, ooh, it's been a hot minute and stuff like that. But I was like, okay, so I would just I did the different types of research, internal validity, external validity, what makes them different, where might you see them, and just kind of and I would study the flashcards twice a day, once in the morning, usually before lunch, and then again in the afternoon, just to kind of refresh. And then something within Dr. Gehart's course was she kind of labeled everything as tier 1, tier 2. So tier 1 was you need to study for this, it's going to be on the exam type of content. And then tier 2 was it could be on the exam, it's not really going to be there, you can kind of glimpse over it, and if you have a basic understanding of it, then you're okay. Usually I would focus on the tier 1. I think towards the weekend, whenever my brain was just can you go into weekend mode, please? I'd be let me just study tier 2 real quick. So it'd be Carl Rogers, person-centered therapy, Gestalt therapy, sleep disorders, personality disorders, stuff like that. But all the heavy stuff systems, Bowian, anxiety, depression, bipolar, that was beginning of the week, and then tier 2 weekend. This is just for me. This is what worked for me, and I just wanted to share. The one thing that was definitely hard was ethics. How do you study ethics? Ethics is just what? Now, sometimes crisis and ethics do kind of coincide and made it a little bit easy. I'm not saying I enjoy studying crisis, but crisis is just do this, do that, do that, do this. Ethics has those morally gray areas sometimes where it's just but you gotta focus on the question, see what the question was. So when I studied ethics, I took as many notes, watched as many videos as I could. I think I made a separate set of flashcards for ethics, the main ones, insurance fraud, informed consent, termination, and all the really big areas. Confidentiality is a big one. So research I talked a little bit about, I did more diving into. I was watching videos, making it to a point just to know the key terms and basic concepts so my brain didn't just freeze on the exam. And then for assessment and treatment planning, what I did was I made a separate chart. I kind of followed the tier 1, tier 2 that Dr. Gehart had, and I just made my own assessment charts of all of the big assessment tools, family assessment dynamics, oh gosh, I can never remember them. It's FAD, McMaster's, Beaver Timber Lawn Model. Those ones are pretty big versus smaller ones. Ones that don't really pop up from time to time. So, and what I did with those specifically was that, the column would have what type, the next column would have the age groups, the next column would have the purpose, what does it measure, what does it do, and then the next column would be, is it individual, couple, or family. So that was just something I made for myself. It helped me out quite a bit, so yes. And then that leads to the final point, which was the take a more mindful approach, because I stress a lot. I get inside my head. I start thinking about what others are gonna think of me and everything like that. So what I did was I followed Dr. Gehart's advice and just, like before I would study, I would do like a mindful meditation, and I would either use, YouTube has free videos. FitOn has a couple of great videos. Not sponsored by FitOn. I'm just saying like FitOn had like a couple of great mindful, and I would like, just do like 5 to 7 minutes each morning, like after I would wake up. I would just sit in like my room away from my books. I noticed that too. I was like, I gotta do it away from my books in like a separate area. I would do that, go make my coffee, and then like sit down. And sure enough, it really helped like the information stick. And it also helped too, because then I felt like more calm and peaceful inside. I felt jittery a little bit afterwards with the coffee, but yeah. I wasn't drinking that much. So it did help. I think I did like a longer 10 minutes, the 10-minute guide beforehand, and I did some yoga the day before. So just like needing to do that, I learned that I need to trust my gut. I always second guess. I am an overthinker and everything like that, but I need to trust my gut on the exam. And it's like, even if you don't agree, just do it. Select the answer. Yeah, so needing to trust my gut, not overthinking. During the exam, and this was in the study book too, like every second or third question, I noticed like I was like kind of like holding it all in, and I would just like roll back my shoulders, just like take a deep breath in, take it out and stuff, and then I would go on to the question. That helped tremendously. That helped a lot. So, doing mindfulness in the morning, if you got to do it during the day too, that's fine as well. Having maybe a bit of a longer session the day before, do some yoga, some light stretching, don't overdo it and stuff. And then, even during the exam, if you notice your body is like, I feel very tense and uncomfortable, then it was like, okay, just take a deep breath. And normally what I do is, in the middle of the exam, I usually have to get up and use the bathroom because coffee in, coffee out. So whenever I would go to the bathroom, I would just kind of like take a couple more calming deep breaths, be like, you got this, you're conquering it, you need to go back and look at a couple and stuff. So you gotta hype yourself up. So, and then also too, I watched another person who passed their licensing exam. Kevin Yu, I believe, is the YouTube channel, and he recommended this book, so I went ahead and got the book. It's like, oh, this is gonna be costly, but you know what? It's worth it in the end because I passed. So yeah, I went ahead and got this book. Sticky notes not included. This is my own. This is how I study. Sticky notes. So many. Thank you, Sam's Club. Not sponsored. It did help. There's only 50 practice questions in here. Well, technically 49. The last one made me cry a little bit because I was like, oh gosh. But yeah, there's some test questions in here. They give you like feedback on like, why this question or why this answer best fits the question or best addresses it. It shows you how to think systemically. It has a couple of like family therapies, a bit of ethics. I wouldn't just use this one. I would say go out and like look for different resources, look for different stuff, but this also helped too. Because that was the thing, like I said before, I was using YouTube videos, I used this book, I had another test book, I had like flashcards that I made. Like I was just going out and like anything that had like MFT national exam, like help, test prep, whatever, I was just like, give me. And whatever was aligning, I'm just like, there's a reason this is aligning. So yeah, that was just a couple of things. It was just needing to know the content, which I knew deep down in my heart I knew. Was just practicing the mindfulness, not getting into my head, not being overly anxious. So what did I learn throughout this whole process? It has definitely taken a while, but I remained persistent throughout the whole thing. I'm like, I will pass this exam. I will move on to the next step because this is what I want to do. This is what I'm called to do. So it was just getting hung up on the questions, getting hung up on the answers, getting inside my head, getting overly anxious and overwhelmed. Finally realizing like, hey, it's okay. Like you don't have to get a perfect score. And then, practicing the mindfulness, lowering anxiety, finding out, sorry, my phone's going off. Finding out my test taking strategy, like I said before, red light, green light. Dr. Diane Gehart has an excellent video on how to do that. That helped out a lot as well. And just over and over and over. I mean, don't overstudy because that is a thing. And that has happened to me before. I don't think with this exam, I think with past exams I have, but like just knowing like when you're ready to take it, what time of day, what month is that going to be, what is that going to look like, setting that study guide, stick to it, and combat the anxious thoughts, because you got this. It's hard, it is difficult, it is not fun, but it is fun being on this side now that I've passed. I'm a little bit proud of myself that I have. I'm kind of sad because it took this long, but at the same time, like, you know what, you're here now, and you're just going to keep moving forward. So, Ruby community's like, yes! She said the thing! So when in doubt, just go with your gut. Trust your gut. Don't get inside your head. Just go with the gut. The gut's like, it's this because it is, because you've studied for it, because you know it. Go with the gut. The gut knows best. Unless the gut's hungry. Make sure you eat a good breakfast beforehand. Stay curious and use other test prep materials and look for information in other formats. I'm more visual. If I hear it, I might be able to understand. If I read it, sometimes if I read it over and over again, it gets boring. But if I see it in a video format, especially like, I don't remember that one website, but I like different videos, and it was like little cartoon people. They would like talk about like the different diagnoses and stuff. I can't remember. If I know, it's in the description. All resources will be in the description, so y'all know that. So now that all that's done and out of the way with, what does that mean for the channel? Yay! I'm not going anywhere. This isn't goodbye, because the place that I'm working at, I'm going to be starting part-time, and the hours is mostly going to be in the evenings, because like I said before, I work with families with children and adolescents, so it's like after work, after school. So that means in the morning, you know, I could easily make a video here or there, and stuff like that. My goal is to still post monthly content. I try to post once a month. I know I've been posting pretty regularly here, but I just have all kinds of ideas and fun stuff I want to do. And that's why it leads me to my next point, because I'm mostly focused on quantity versus quantity. I want to make sure my videos are good, they're edited, they look nice, especially since I am the editor. It's always like, hi, Editor Jen, and stuff like that. So I edit my own videos, I have to record, I have to think of ideas, I do it all. This is a one-woman army. I know I joke and say Oliver helps too, but it's been playing on the keyboard a lot. It's not really helping, because at the end of the day, I want to make sure that my content out there is something that I enjoy and that others can enjoy as well. It takes something out of that. So this video might not count. This is kind of spur of the moment, because this is like next day recording, and then probably get posted here in a little bit, but yeah. So I will say too, it might take a little bit longer to post videos. I'm gonna try that once a month, even if it's just a random 2 or 3 minute video. Like, this is how life is going. It's crazy, but it's fun and exciting. So yeah, I'm not going anywhere. I'm still gonna be posting. Just please be patient. Okay. So for now, that means I'm currently a licensed graduate marriage and family therapist. It's gonna take 2 years until I become fully licensed. And I can practice anywhere except for the state of California, because the state of California, you have to take a separate exam for that. So we'll see. I'm gonna move to Hawaii. I want somewhere tropical. I'm done with the cold. Cold's not doing so good on my joints. Boy. That about wraps up this video. Again, very spur of the moment, but I was so excited. I wanted to share the news. I know I've been talking about it. And this was kind of like, you know, it's a big stepping block and everything. And I just want to say, like, the people that supported me, the people that sent me messages, the people that celebrated with me yesterday, they're just like, yes, let's go, you did it, and stuff. Thank you. I really do appreciate you all sticking with me and all that good stuff. So I'm still going to be posting, hopefully, some good quality content stuff, and all that. I have a couple of videos lined up, like I said, for I'm recording today, so it's worked out perfectly. But yes, so hopefully my advice and tips help. I'm not a professional by any means, but I know this exam's really tough, and I just wanted to get my ideas out there. So if you want to see more in depth, it might be later on. Either a whole separate video or maybe normal part 2. Who knows? Who knows at this point? But I'm going to go ahead and take off. So I just want to say thank you again for watching. Thank you to those who supported me. I greatly appreciate it. And yeah, hopefully in 2 years, I will be licensed. Who knows at that point where I'll be, so I'm excited. I'm ready for this part of the journey. I'm ready to start this chapter. Been waiting, now it's here. So, I'm ready. Alrighty, so just want to say Thank you again for watching. Hopefully everyone's taking care, staying safe, and as always, peace, love, and kindness. Bye everyone.